The crown prince's consort and I fell into the water together. She pushed me. Her long nails scraped across my cheek. Suzie, do you believe that if we both fell in, Lu Jingzhou would choose to save me over you? Lu Jingzhou is my husband. We bowed to heaven and earth together, vowing to grow old side by side. He once climbed 999 steps for me, burning incense and praying to Buddha, begging only for my safety and happiness. But when that moment truly came, he didn't even glance at me before rushing toward her. After that, I stopped loving him. Yet he begged me with reddened eyes to look at him, saying he loved me. You say you love me, but is loving someone truly like that? I no longer love him. I no longer wish to be crown princess. And he shall never sit upon the throne of crown prince. I have hair as smooth as satin and eyes that hold a hint of playful reproach. Lu Jingzhou adored my eyes most of all. He cherished the sight of me loosening my hair, tilting my face, and gazing up at him. He said, "Ge possesses an exquisite beauty that radiates. Especially these eyes, both coy and reproachful. Unforgettable to anyone who sees them." Back then, I thought it was just the blind adoration of a lover. And I was filled with joy, both coy and bashful. Until Lu Pungping appeared. Lu Pungping was a true beauty. Her hair cascaded like a waterfall. Her skin whiter than snow. Her eyebrows like willow tips. Her eyes full of emotion, just one glance could make one's bones melt. And me. I was the daughter of a military family. Though I'd never seen battle, my upbringing had tempered my spirit. I rode horses through the streets, wielded spears and staffs with equal skill. Beautiful I was, yet utterly unlike the delicate, willow-like beauty favored in the capital. But my eyes bore an uncanny resemblance to hers. When she tilted her face and glanced up, the resemblance was almost uncanny. The first time I saw Lu Pungping, she was cradled in Lu Jingzhou's arms. By then, Lu Jingzhou had been gone for over 3 months. Sent by the emperor to manage flood control, he returned with a girl in his embrace. Her clothes were tattered and mud-stained, yet her face held an extraordinary beauty. Nestled in Lu Jingzhou's embrace, she asked softly, "Brother Crown Prince, who is this?" He paused for a long moment before answering, his expression cold. "My crown princess, Suzie." I'd only been gone 5 years. Yet brother crown prince already had a crown princess. She seemed startled for a moment, then smiled, though her eyes held tears. My footsteps halted right there. Truthfully, if I had been wise enough, I should have realized it the moment I saw him. Lu Jingzhou didn't love me, but I refused to believe it. I couldn't accept that he didn't love me. How could he not love me? For 3 years since our marriage, he had cherished me like a precious jewel. Countless times, he had taken my hand, declaring his love, promising to care for me forever. And I loved him too. When His Majesty bestowed the marriage upon Lu Jingzhou and me, my mother wiped away tears before me, and my father wore a heavy heart. He warned that the imperial court was treacherous waters, that once you entered the palace gates, it was as deep as the sea. He feared I would suffer injustice. But Lu Jingzhou never once let me suffer injustice. At least, not before Lu Pungping appeared. He always indulged me, cherished me. Imperial protocols were numerous. Yet he never confined me. 3 years into our marriage, my nature remained unchanged. I did as I pleased each day. Once, I fell gravely ill. Lu Jingzhou, eyes reddened, sought medicine for me and burned incense in prayer. To show his sincerity, he specifically went to the 3 Zen temple, reputed among the common folk as the most efficacious. He climbed 999 steps, prostrating himself with every step. He, a man of such noble bearing, the crown prince himself, was willing to go to such lengths for me. Sometimes I even thought that, Aside from my father and brother, I could never find another man in this world who cared for me as deeply as he did. Yet the truth lay before me, sowing doubt and shaking my resolve. Lu Jingzhou was naturally fastidious. I recall one time when Princess Saren and I raced horses on the back mountain. The winner would receive an ancient sword engraved with the characters "Guard the Heart." Lu Jingzhou had always cherished ancient swords. Yet when I clutched that sword and threw myself into his arms, he merely frowned, took a step back, and stared at my mud-stained clothes. "Ziyi, you're dirty." My heart, brimming with joy, froze in that instant. Yet now, he holds the far dirtier Lu Pungping tightly in his arms, not the slightest bit bothered that she's soiling his clothes. Lu Pungping thus settled into the crown prince's residence. No one could clearly define her status now. Lu Pungping was originally Lu Jingzhou's half-sister, the Anqing princess personally bestowed by the emperor. Her mother, Consort Shun, was the daughter of a wealthy merchant from Jiangnan. Widowed young, her beauty drew the emperor's attention, and she was brought into the palace. Brought back to the palace with her was the then 3-year-old Lu Pungping. Lu Jingzhou told me he only regarded Lu Pungping as a sister. That day when he lifted her off the horse, it was merely out of sibling affection. He pitied her for her injuries, pitied her for her hardships. I believed him. Though doubts lingered in my heart, I still believed him. After all, I loved him. Oh, right. He always told me how pitiful Lu Pungping was. Pungping is truly pitiful. Even as a child in the palace, she was often met with cold stares. Later, when she grew up, she was sent to Chigua for a political marriage. It took great effort for her to escape. Ziyi, you always understand me best. For my sake, could you please be more accommodating toward her? He said this to me the very night Lu Pungping arrived at the crown prince's residence. Later, when Lu Pungping shattered the jade pendant I had personally crafted for him, he said the same thing to me. It was just a jade pendant. Pungping broke it by accident. Could you please not hold it against her? Give her some leeway, okay? I stared at him coldly. Lu Jingzhou, this was no ordinary jade pendant. I made it for you with my own hands, a pair. In fact, from selecting the material to designing it to polishing it, how much effort I poured into it. It was just one step away from completion. And she didn't break it by accident. She came to my palace, snatched this pendant from my desk, and deliberately smashed it. But I picked up my half of the pendant and hurled it violently onto the floor. Fine. If you don't care, I won't make it anymore. But Lu Pungping staying at the crown prince's residence like this isn't right either. I don't like Lu Pungping. She doesn't like me either. When she's alone with me, she glares and acts all haughty. Yet with Lu Jingzhou, she's always coy and timid. She often links arms with him, calling him Crown Prince Brother non-stop. Crown Prince Brother. Brother Crown Prince. Her voice was sweet and cloying. It grated on my nerves. So I brushed her hand away without a second thought, leaving her to glare at me with hurt eyes. Your Highness, don't you understand that men and women should keep their distance? Even if you're siblings. Sons should avoid their mothers and daughters their fathers. You're both grown now. This time, Lu Jingzhou offered no rebuttal. He merely patted her hand and murmured softly in consolation. But when I suggested informing His Majesty about Lu Pungping's escape from Qi Kingdom and returning her to the palace, his brow furrowed deeply. Unnecessary. Let her stay here. The crown prince's residence is vast enough to accommodate her. But her escape from Qi back to Liang is no small matter. His frown deepened. He looked at me, his tone cold and firm. Ziyi, don't meddle in this. Everything is arranged. Nothing will happen. Just don't tell anyone she escaped back. Fine. I won't meddle. I got angry with Lu Jingzhou. one-sidedly. But Lu Jingzhou seemed completely unaware. He was busy attending court and handling official duties by day. When he returned at night, there was still Lu Pungping waiting for him. He was too busy to even think of me. After a few days of being angry with Lu Jingzhou, I stopped being angry. I had already soothed myself. I'm quite good at soothing myself. My mother once said, loving someone means thinking of them constantly. You can't bear to see them sad, nor can you bear to stay angry with them forever. I love Lu Jingzhou, so I couldn't bear to stay angry with him forever. Besides, I noticed the lanterns in the courtyard had been quietly lit. Rabbit, carp, lion, I loved them all. The Linchang pond has been filled with hot spring water, and the lotus blossoms are gradually opening. I know this is Lu Jingzhou's way of commemorating our meeting. Every year on the anniversary of our first encounter, he has countless lanterns strung up, fills the pond with hot spring water, and coaxes the lotus into full bloom. Truthfully, I didn't always love lotus flowers. I was somewhat afraid of water. When I was little, I accidentally fell into a lake and nearly drowned. Ever since then, I've feared water. But Lu Jingzhou loved lotus flowers most of all. He said he would give me the things he cherished most. So I grew to love them too. I thought sweetly of this, counting down the days with my fingers as the date drew nearer. When that day finally arrived, I rose early. I put on my favorite dress, had Lu help me get all dolled up, and even had the kitchen prepare a feast. But I waited and waited, and Lu Jingzhou never showed up. He went to Lu Pungping's room instead. That's when I found out today was actually Lu Pungping's birthday. He accompanied her to Linchang Pool to view the lotus blossoms. Oh, right, Lu Pungping adores lotus flowers. It wasn't Lu Jingzhou who loved lotus flowers, but Lu Pungping. What he truly wished to commemorate wasn't our meeting, but Lu Pungping's birthday. That day, Lu Jingzhou never stepped into my courtyard. I sat alone in the courtyard for a long time. Servants came by occasionally to report that Lu Jingzhou had accompanied Lu Pungping to see the lotus flowers, then gone to view the lanterns. Finally, he entered her courtyard and never came out again. How should I put this? Truthfully, I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't sad either. What was there to be sad about? He simply didn't love me. He had deceived me. Without Lu Jingzhou, many others would still love me. My father, mother, and elder brother, they all loved me, more than Lu Jingzhou ever did. Yet as I thought about it, my nose still stung. I lifted my head. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't let such a trifling matter make me sad. Later that night, when the stars lit up the sky, Lu Pungping came to see me. She said she'd come to apologize on Lu Jingzhou's behalf. But her face was lit up with a bright smile, not a trace of remorse to be seen. Only smug satisfaction remained. It's rather quiet here at your place, isn't it? Oh, right. I heard today was the day you met my brother, the Crown Prince? What a coincidence, today is also my birthday. Naturally, my brother must accompany me on my birthday. It's just a pity for you, sister-in-law, to be left alone in such a large courtyard. I hope you won't take offense. Hearing her repeatedly address me as sister-in-law, I couldn't help but laugh. Suddenly, I asked, "Do you like Lu Jingzhou? Do you like your brother and wish to marry him?" Anqing, what do you call a sister wanting to marry her brother? That's called incest. It's punishable by death. She seemed taken aback by my directness, her delicate brows furrowing slightly, a hint of anger flushing her cheeks. You. I ignored her and continued speaking to myself. Weren't you going to say that Lu Jingzhou likes you too? That he abandoned me here for you? That he never loved me? That I was just a substitute for you? When you're away, he keeps me by his side to ease his longing. But the moment you return, he forgets who I even am. Right? The smugness returned to her face. Good to know. My smile deepened, and I almost wanted to crack open her skull to see what was inside. Or perhaps this beautiful shell was traded for her very mind? I pressed on, but so what? Will he marry you? Ching. Even if we take the most extreme scenario, if he truly loves you, if he defies all propriety to marry you, you'd still only be a concubine. When he was crown prince, you were his concubine. Should he ever ascend the throne, you'd be just one among his 3,000 beauties, competing with countless others. Whereas I am the crown princess bestowed by His Majesty himself, destined to be his empress. I will always stand above you. Oh, and since you seem unfamiliar with propriety, today I'll teach you what it truly means. Lu Jingzhou didn't come to see me until the next day. I heard that after Lu Pungping returned yesterday, he flew into a rage, smashing everything he could on the table. When Lu Jingzhou arrived, his face was grim, filled with both anger and shame. He seemed to have something to say to me. But I didn't want to hear it. I cut him off, meeting his eyes as I asked softly and deliberately. Lu Jingzhou, do you love me? He seemed to freeze for a moment. Truthfully, I'd asked this question before. It was the day Lu Jingzhou came to my home to propose. I still remember it was a snowy day. He came to propose, and according to custom, I wasn't supposed to show myself, but I was anxious. So I sneaked into the courtyard behind the main hall, sat on the swing frame, and strained my ears to listen. They talked for a very, very long time. I listened for a very, very long time. Listening and listening, I grew tired and fell asleep. When I woke up, he appeared behind me. My swing frame was pushed high into the air. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. We smiled at each other, and I watched his face slowly flush. I asked him, Lu Jingzhou, do you love me? Will you be good to me forever? Without hesitation, he nodded his affirmation. White snow, crimson plum blossoms, green pines, and a young man. That scene remained etched in my heart for a very, very long time. So long that even now, recalling it feels like a gaping wound in my heart. A cold wind whistled through. Lu Jingzhou hesitated for a moment, then slowly took my hand and squeezed it gently. Of course I love you. Ziyi. Of all the women in this world, you are the one I love most. Yesterday, I was drunk. That's why I missed our appointment. You won't blame me, will you? Is that so? I let out a soft laugh. Lu Jingzhou, you're lying. You don't love me. Even if you do, the love you give me is so little. I don't want you anymore. Even now, saying those words still makes my heart ache. But I still don't want you. Those words yesterday, I said them to deliberately provoke Lu Pungping. How could I compete with her? I am Suzie. The love I want has always been pure and untainted. I refuse to be anyone's substitute. And I certainly don't want to be anyone's backup option. I took out the divorce papers I'd prepared long ago and placed them before Lu Jingzhou. Lu Jingzhou, I want a divorce. Lu Jingzhou doesn't want a divorce. After I proposed the divorce, he looked at me in disbelief, like a cat whose tail had been lit on fire. Suzie, you want a divorce? No. Impossible. I'll never agree. Don't even think about it. I couldn't make sense of his behavior. Didn't he like Lu Pungping? Didn't he just see me as a substitute? So who was this performance for now? Or was it that he wanted both her and me? I was determined to divorce him. If Lu Jingzhou refuses, I'll keep pestering him, perhaps out of guilt, wanting to make amends. He spent more time with me these past few days. even sending people to deliver gifts occasionally. I paid them no mind. I had only one thing to say: divorce. After I repeated it so often, he simply stopped responding and hid himself away. But barely 2 days after he vanished, Pungping encountered trouble. To be precise, trouble erupted at the Crown Prince's residence. News that Pungping had fled back from Chigua and taken refuge in the Crown Prince's quarters reached the Emperor's ears. Enraged, His Majesty summoned both Lu Jingzhou and Pungping to the palace that very night. Beyond this, another even more shocking revelation emerged. Pungping was pregnant with Lu Jingzhou's child. She was already over 2 months along when the Empress, Lu Jingzhou's mother, summoned me to the palace. Lu Jingzhou was kneeling outside Fanyi Palace. I heard he had been kneeling there for 2 days straight. The sun outside was scorching. Fine beads of sweat glistened on his forehead, soaking through his robes. His body swayed slightly, unsteady. I passed by him with downcast eyes, my steps not faltering for a moment. The Empress took my hand warmly, her tone tinged with regret. "Ge, this whole affair has caused you such hardship. Jingzhou is to blame, that good for nothing. I shall see to it he is punished. I have never cared for Anqing either, but she is now carrying Jingzhou's child. Things have come to this. If you wish, you may wait until she gives birth and raise the child as your own. As for Anqing, mother will find her a separate residence. She shall never trouble you again." After speaking, she leaned close to my ear and whispered softly, "Zi, small impatience ruins great plans. You know there are many ways to make someone vanish without a trace. Just wait until her child is born." Her voice was so soft. Only the two of us could hear it. I knew she meant it sincerely. After Consort Shun, Pungping's mother, entered the palace. She enjoyed exclusive favor, stirring envy and resentment in countless others. And Consort Shun truly lived up to the saying, "Beauty meets an untimely end." But this was never what I desired. When I married Lu Jingzhou, I sought nothing else. I held only a sincere heart, wishing to wed him, and I only asked that he treat me with an equally sincere heart. "Mother, Your Majesty," I called softly, the words I only wished to divorce already on the tip of my tongue. It was then that Lu Jingzhou rushed before me, seizing my wrist. His steps were unsteady, his eyes pleading. "Suzie, I have something to tell you." Soon, only the two of us remained in the hall. "Zi, must you treat me this way? We've been married 3 years, we've worshipped heaven and earth together, shared the bridal chamber, consummated our union. You even said you loved me. Now, is there truly not a shred of compassion left in you? Zi, Zi." He called my name again and again. For a fleeting moment, it felt as though we had returned to the past. Back then, Lu Jingzhou also loved calling my name like this, over and over. Sometimes, when I deliberately sulked at him, he would come close to me and call my name repeatedly. He would call until my heart softened completely. But things are different now. A shattered mirror, even if pieced back together, will forever bear its cracks. I brushed his hand away. He closed his eyes, let out a long sigh, and his voice returned to its usual indifference. "Suzie, even if you take this matter to the Empress Dowager, she will never consent. Nor will I. Since you married me, you are mine in life and mine in death. Moreover, even if you don't consider me or our years together, you must think of your father and brothers. Divorcing me is no trivial matter. You've always been willful, but now the Northwest Front is critical. Do you want your father and brothers to fight on the battlefield while worrying about you?" I trembled with rage. "And what of you? Can you truly conceal your affair with Pungping?" He remained silent for a moment. "Regardless, I will keep it hidden, as long as you do not speak of it. In the end, I yielded. I told myself it wasn't for Lu Jingzhou. It was for my father and brothers. I feared they would worry for me and cause trouble. I began counting the days until my father and brothers returned. But the more one fears something, the more likely it becomes. The 15th day of the 4th month was an auspicious day. The air was warm and clear. The Crown Prince's residence welcomed its third lady. Lu Pungping was ushered into the Crown Prince's residence with the honors befitting a secondary consort. To silence the gossip and ensure Lu Pungping's smooth entry into the residence, Lu Jingzhou fabricated a new identity for her. He had her take her mother's surname, calling her Pungping, and publicly presented her as the daughter of a minor county magistrate from a remote region. It was also on this day that news arrived from the northwest battlefield. My father and brothers were trapped in Suiping Valley. Their fate unknown. The news arrived late at night. Though born into a military family, my father had always taught me that life and death are predestined. I understood that victory and defeat are common occurrences in warfare, and blades on the battlefield have no eyes. Yet the moment I received the news, panic instantly overwhelmed me. I could only close my eyes tightly, trying to comfort myself that sometimes no news is the best news. I immediately dispatched messengers to inquire about the situation on the battlefield. Perhaps the commotion drew attention, for Lu Jingzhou arrived. His brow furrowed the instant he entered. "What's wrong?" he demanded. For reasons I couldn't fathom, the calm I'd just regained shattered. Grief and fear surged over me. My voice nearly breaking, I seized his hand. "Lu Jingzhou, please, help me. My father and brothers." This was the first time since marrying him that I'd ever asked for his assistance. But before I could finish, a voice sounded outside the door, vibrant and sweet. "Brother Jingzhou, why haven't you come back yet?" Only then did I notice the crimson wedding robes he wore. Lu Jingzhou's expression also stiffened. He paused, then slowly withdrew his hand. We'll talk about it another time. I'll come back to be with you later." Once he left, he never returned. That night, I lay awake until dawn. Numbly, I changed my clothes, forced a smile at the bronze mirror, and returned alone to the general's residence. I comforted my mother and grandmother with kind words. The next day, after leaving the general's residence, I went to the Three Zen Temple. I sought blessings for my father and brother's safety. Unexpectedly, I encountered Lu Jingzhou and Lu Pungping within the temple walls. They had come to pray for the well-being of their unborn child. I stood at the entrance, watching them intently for a while, watching them walk hand in hand, watching Lu Pungping kneel upon the prayer mat, watching Lu Jingzhou tenderly help her rise. After watching for a while, I walked past them expressionlessly and began my own prayers. Later, on the temple's rear mountain, by the pond, I encountered Lu Pungping once more. This time, she was alone. I gave her a cold glance and turned to leave, but she grabbed my hand and began telling me about Lu Jingzhou's kindness toward her. "Suzie, do you know why Lu Jingzhou married you? Partly because your eyes resemble mine. Partly because of your father and brother, because you're the only daughter of the general of establishing might. Now that your father and brother are about to fall, your good days will end too." She gloated triumphantly. "But I'm different. Didn't you say I could only be a concubine? Yet now I'm his secondary consort. Once you fall, I'll become his empress." I replied indifferently, "Oh, is that so? Then congratulations. Finished? I'm leaving." My mind was consumed with thoughts of my father and brothers. I had no patience left for her petty games. "Oh, and one last thing, instead of wasting time here chatting nonsense, you'd be better off getting Lu Jingzhou to sign the divorce papers." Furious, she still refused to let go. Her expression shifted repeatedly before settling into a strangely unsettling smile. "Suzie, tell me, If we both fell into the water, who would Lu Jingzhou save? He would abandon you to save me. I whipped my head around, glaring at her. I tried to shake off her hand, only to find my body weak as jelly. In a flash, I remembered the tea I'd just drunk. What did you put in my tea? She only smiled. With a radiant smile, she pushed me, then jumped in herself. Help! Help! Someone's drowning. Save me! Brother Jingzhou. Save me! Chaos erupted on the shore. Though it was May, the pond water remained bitterly cold. So cold. So scared. I'm afraid of water. I flailed wildly, feeling the icy water threatening to swallow me whole. In my dazed state, I saw Lu Jingzhou leap into the water. Without hesitation, he swam past me toward Lu Pungping. Pungping, don't be afraid. I'm here. Such deep affection. But Lu Jingzhou, have you forgotten? I'm afraid of water. I slowly closed my eyes, sinking bit by bit. When I opened them again, I was already in the Crown Prince's residence. I didn't know how long I'd been asleep. When I opened my eyes, daylight flooded the room. Lu Jingzhou sat beside me. Seeing I'd woken, he unleashed a torrent of accusations. Suzie, why did you push Pungping into the water? Do you know her child is lost? Suzie, how could you be so cruel? Cruel. I stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. I spoke slowly, enunciating each word. I didn't push her. She pushed me. As we spoke, Lu Pungping arrived. Unlike Lu Jingzhou, she didn't wear a face of fury. Instead, she wore a plain white cloak, appearing delicate and fragile, her eyes still red. Yet upon seeing me, she didn't mention her child first. Instead, tears streaming down her face, she asked me, "Is sister okay?" When I didn't answer, she continued, "Sister, why did you harm my child? He was so small, barely formed." Lu Jingzhou hurriedly helped her up, his voice gentle. There, Pungping. Didn't I tell you to rest? Why did you come over here? You've always been frail. Rest assured, I will avenge you and our child." But when he turned to me, his face twisted into a ferocious scowl, veins bulging on his hands. Suzie, what more can you say? Watching them, I found it laughable. I actually laughed out loud. At this point, if I still didn't know what scheme I'd fallen into, I'd be the fool. I told you. She pushed me. Don't you believe me? I have my own way to prove it. I stood up from the bed. For a moment after rising, my legs still felt weak. Sure, Lu tried to support me, but I dodged her hand. I led Lu Jingzhou and Lu Pungping to the edge of the Linchang pool, then pulled Lu Pungping right up to the water's edge. What are you bringing me here for? To prove it. Of course. Lu Pungping, you said earlier that I pushed you. And to protect yourself, you grabbed my hand and accidentally pulled me into the pool too, right? She nodded. Without a word, I shoved her in. A scream rang out. I looked at Lu Jingzhou and slowly smiled. That's my proof. Lu Jingzhou, let me tell you this, Suzie, am not one of those women trapped in the inner quarters who resort to any filthy trick in the name of jealousy. I wouldn't stoop to plotting behind people's backs either. If I act, I do it openly and honestly, just like this. Now, I admit I pushed her. This time, Lu Pungping truly fell ill. After being rescued from the water, she ran a high fever that very night. Lu Jingzhou, however, lost his mind in the dead of night. He came out to the courtyard and asked me one question. Are you really not the one who pushed her? I didn't even lift my head. I already said it wasn't me. Instead of wasting your time suspecting me, why don't you investigate whether Pungping's child is even real? In the darkness, I felt a gaze fixed firmly on me. He stared at me for a long moment before suddenly saying, "You've always been domineering and willful. Yet Pungping is gentle as water." "I don't believe you." I rolled my eyes silently. Believe it or not. Whether he believes me or not, I won't feel this pain anymore. Lu Jingzhou punished me, making me kneel on the blue stone slabs outside the courtyard. Day and night. For 7 days straight. Kneel. So be it. It wasn't like I hadn't knelt before. I knelt for 2 days and 2 nights. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, a torrential downpour began. Bean-sized raindrops pelted my face, blurring my vision until even human figures became indistinct. Shirley cried, trying to pull me up. Miss, let's go back. We won't kneel anymore." I shook my head and whispered hoarsely into her ear. "Has the matter of Pungping's miscarriage been investigated? What about the imperial physician who treated her? I cannot leave. Lu Jingzhou cares deeply about this child. And so does the Empress. Until the truth is uncovered, I cannot leave. I must kneel." Pomegranate had no choice but to kneel beside me, holding an umbrella over my head. The servants assigned to watch over me were perplexed. "Miss Pomegranate, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince said we must not hold umbrellas for the Crown Princess. His Highness the Crown Prince said that whatever suffering the secondary consort endured, the Crown Princess must endure as well." Pomegranate glared angrily. Yet another umbrella suddenly shaded my shoulders. "Why are you kneeling here, sister-in-law?" The heavy rain blurred my vision. I squinted for a long moment before making out his face. This face, I had seen it before. Third Prince Lu Jingyan. The last face I saw before losing consciousness in the mountain pond 2 days ago. He was the one who saved me. He continued, "Sister-in-law, please rise. Such heavy rain, kneeling too long will harm your health. Even if you've committed a grave offense, punishment should wait until after the storm." Before I could answer, he had already pulled me up. Seeing I was unsteady, he wrapped his arm around my waist and lifted me into his arms. "Sister-in-law, forgive me." In a daze, I felt a cold hand brush my forehead. Someone sighed softly. "So hot." Lu Jingyan carried me back to my room. I fainted the moment we entered the room. When I awoke, Lu Jingyan hadn't left. He sat outside the inner chamber, separated from me by a screen, studying the new prescription the physician had written for me. Before long, Lu Jingzhou arrived. His face was grim. He glanced at me on the sickbed, then at Lu Jingyan behind the screen, and let out a cold laugh. It wasn't directed at me, but at Lu Jingyan. "Since when do you get to meddle in my family affairs?" As he spoke, he kicked the servant who had been watching over me. Useless fool. Couldn't even stop him. Lu Jingyan, however, showed little reaction. He offered a faint bow and asked, "My sister-in-law has a fever. Did you know, brother?" Lu Jingzhou's face remained icy. "Suzie is guilty and deserves punishment." Lu Jingyan, however, smiled. "Before punishing my sister-in-law, why not investigate the person by your own pillow? After all, that day, I personally witnessed Lady Fong dragging my sister-in-law into the water together. I didn't inform you then because I had urgent matters to attend to, and also because I didn't want to meddle in your family affairs. I thought you would see through everything clearly. But it turns out." I snapped my head up to stare at him. I remember clearly that day on the back mountain, by the pond. Besides me and Lu Pungping, there was no one else. He couldn't possibly have seen it. After it was over, I thanked Lu Jingyan and asked why he'd perjured himself, why he'd helped me. This time, he didn't call me sister-in-law. He called me Miss Sue. Because I believe you would never do such a thing. And I believe that even if I hadn't brought this up today, you could have resolved it on your own. It would only have been a matter of time, whether you suffered more or less hardship. So why not let me be the one to do the good deed? He winked at me. Besides, I didn't really do much, just mentioned it to the crown prince. As for proving your innocence, that's still up to you, Miss Sue. As for my eldest brother, the crown prince, he probably won't be able to get to the bottom of this. I nodded. Afterward, Lu Jingzhou did exactly as Lu Jingyan predicted. He investigated for 3 days and found nothing. Even the imperial physician who treated Lu Pungping lost his life during interrogation. When he confronted Lu Pungping, she burst into tears, accusing Lu Jingyan and me of colluding to frame her. Brother Jingzhou, do you truly distrust Pungping? That day on the back mountain, when Sister Sue summoned me for a talk, I never once saw the third prince's shadow. I wonder what benefits Sister Sue promised him to make him slander my good name with such baseless accusations. For a moment, I couldn't tell if he trusted Lu Pungping too much and hadn't investigated properly, or if he was simply this incompetent. Fortunately, I was prepared. I presented evidence of Lu Pungping's collusion with the imperial physician and her fake pregnancy right before Lu Jingzhou. That same evening, I received a letter from my elder brother. The letter stated that the battle at Suiping Valley had been sabotaged by treacherous individuals. Yet they had managed to turn defeat into victory, and that the Northwest campaign had now achieved a great victory. They would be returning to the capital in the near future. When Lu Jingzhou came to my room, I was being held down on the bed by Shirlu while she applied medicine. I grimaced in pain, my legs swollen beyond recognition from days of kneeling. Bruised and purple, Lu Jingzhou stood at the doorway watching for a long moment before slowly stepping inside. He took the medicated cotton from Shiryu's hands. Let me tend to your wounds. He gazed at me, his expression tinged with that familiar guilt. Without hesitation, I kicked him squarely in the chest, though the blow tugged at my own injuries, sending sharp pain shooting through me. Get out. He fell silent, standing by with the cotton pad. After a long, tense pause, he finally managed. I misunderstood you. I never imagined things would turn out this way. Pungping and we've known each other since childhood. Back then, her awkward background and lack of maternal protection made her a frequent target of bullying. I couldn't stand by and watch, so I stood up for her. She'd follow me around, crying and sniffling. Back then, she was the kindest soul, she wouldn't even step on an ant. Because I was good to her, she tried her best to repay me. I never imagined she'd do something like this. I looked at him with scorn. So you came here to tell me about your past with Lu Pungping? To show me how devoted you two were? He panicked. No. I just wanted to explain. I want to make it up to you. Do you truly want to make it up to me? Or is it because my father and brother earned merit in the Northwest? My intentions are genuine. Is that so? I smiled. I recalled Lu Pungping's expression when he told me he married me for my father and brother's sake. I remembered the sorrow I felt when, after winning the ancient sword, I'd wanted to throw myself into his arms only to be rejected as filthy. Softly, I said, "But Lu Jingzhou, I find you filthy." Lu Jingzhou still refused to sign the divorce papers. And so, Lu Jingzhou and I dragged things out. He wouldn't sign, and I wouldn't reconcile with him. Every night, he would sneak into my room, wanting to talk to me, but I would close my eyes and pretend to be asleep. During the day, he found time to accompany me. He gathered all sorts of rare and peculiar trinkets, presenting them to me in hopes of cheering me up, only for me to fling them away. As for Lu Pungping, I heard Lu Jingzhou had a huge fight with her. She cried and protested that she hadn't meant to do it. that she only acted out of love for him. She knew that with her background, she had to do something extraordinary to ever marry him. It was because she loved him so deeply that she resorted to such desperate measures. After a long outburst of tears and threats of self-harm, she finally softened Lu Jingzhou's stance, though only enough to spare her the punishment of kneeling. He locked her away. But then again, none of this concerned me anymore. After a few days of this, I grew bored and slipped back to the general's residence. Upon hearing of Lu Pungping's frame-up, my mother burst into tears the moment she saw me. Holding my hand, she kept saying I'd grown thin, declaring that a daughter of the Su family was not born to be treated this way. We'll divorce him. More than half a month later, my father and brother finally returned victorious. During the commendation ceremony, His Majesty asked my father what he desired. My father replied simply that he had only this one daughter, and all he wished was for her to live a life of joy and freedom from worry. He sought a royal favor, but the emperor hesitated to grant it, saying he needed more time to consider. Yet before he could reach a decision, the armies of Qi invaded. Their justification? That our Liang kingdom had broken its word and committed grave injustices, secretly retrieving the princess sent for a political marriage, thereby causing the ruler of Qi to lose his wife and children, his kin torn apart, and Liang lacked capable generals. Aside from my father and brothers, there were few men fit for the task. His Majesty wished my father to lead the campaign, but he only declined, citing unhealed old wounds that might prevent him from accepting the command. As for when those wounds might truly heal, that likely depended on when His Majesty would issue the decree granting my divorce from Lu Jingzhou. On the day Qi declared war on Liang, Lu Jingzhou came to see me. I had him brought to the edge of the Emerald Pool. Truthfully, he'd been visiting me daily these past days, though I'd never seen him. This time, upon meeting him, I noticed he seemed much more weathered. The spirited youth I married now bore none of his former noble bearing. When he saw me, he tentatively reached for my hand. Seeing me step back, he withdrew his own. How did we end up like this? Do you remember when we first married? When I lifted your red veil, all I could think was how beautiful you were. I vowed to cherish you for the rest of my life. I know I was wrong. Can you give me another chance? Suddenly, I felt an overwhelming sense of desolation. Not for him, but for myself these past years. I curved my lips slightly and asked softly, slowly, Lu Jingzhou, do you remember I'm afraid of water? You say you love me, but is loving someone truly like this? You want my forgiveness. But what of all I've lost? All the wrongs I've endured? And Lu Pungping, what will you do with her? How will you make amends to me? If you could truly make it up to me. I left the sentence unfinished. Even if I no longer care about his love now. But I want him to suffer. Every ounce of injustice I endured must not be in vain. Lu Jingzhou fell silent. His lips moved. But in the end, he didn't say I'm sorry again. Gazing at the sea of withered lotus, he suddenly spoke, if I make it up to you, could we start over? I said nothing. He had already jumped. Lu Jingzhou sent Lu Pungping back to Qigua. After returning from the general's residence, he immediately arranged for this matter. On the day she was sent away, Lu Pungping alternated between laughter and curses. First, she begged Lu Jingzhou not to send her back. She said her life in Qigua had been nothing but suffering, and if he sent her back, she would die. But Lu Jingzhou paid her no mind. Later, she turned her scolding toward me. She said it was all my fault. She even said, Suzie, do you think you've won now? If he can treat me this way today, he can treat you the same tomorrow. Truthfully, I had long understood. Lu Jingzhou's deepest affection had always been reserved solely for himself. His desire to return to me wasn't necessarily born of pure remorse. It could only be described as fate, circumstance, destiny. Yet the Qi kingdom still refused to withdraw its troops. Lu Jingzhou and I never returned to how we were before. We divorced. He never signed the divorce decree, it was the emperor's decree. As for Lu Pungping, I've heard the king of Qi is a brutal tyrant and a depraved lecher. What fate awaits her once she's returned? Only she herself will know. On the day father marched to war, I went to see him off. Along the way, I encountered Lu Jingyan. It was dawn, the sky just breaking, the first faint light of morning. From the city ramparts, I watched father and the army depart, their figures growing smaller and smaller. Lu Jingyan stood beside me, the wind rustling his robes. He said, "The Su family is filled with loyal ministers and valiant generals, the backbone and spirit of our Liang kingdom. As father departs, all of Liang will remember him, and he will forever honor the Su lineage." I smiled, thanking him once more for saving me from the water earlier. Then asked, "Third prince, do you wish to be crown prince?" After all, Lu Jingzhou is weak-willed and easily swayed by others. He truly cannot inherit the throne. Days later, displaced people from the north entered the capital, storming the government granaries. Rumors spread that the war with Qi Kingdom was all due to the personal greed of Liang Kingdom's crown prince. Panic gripped the capital. Large groups of refugees gathered around the crown prince's residence, accusing him of moral corruption that brought disaster upon them, destroying their homes and leaving them homeless. They demanded the crown prince sacrifice himself to appease Qi's wrath. To quell the unrest, Lu Jingzhou deployed troops to suppress the refugees. During the crackdown, bloodshed occurred. Though I orchestrated all this, I never anticipated Lu Jingzhou would deploy military force against the refugees, let alone cause loss of life. At this point, I needn't take another step. Lu Jingzhou's reputation is already ruined. Court ministers submitted petitions demanding the crown prince's removal. Led by my uncle, the censors proclaimed that the third prince possessed exceptional wisdom and innate benevolence, urging the court to install Lu Jingyan as the new heir. Subsequently, Lu Jingzhou was deposed, confined within the crown prince's residence under guard, barred from leaving for the rest of his life. After his fall, I visited the crown prince's residence one final time. Truthfully, it wasn't to see him. I mainly had some belongings left behind that I hadn't retrieved. This time, we merely exchanged a distant glance. His despondency was utterly unmasked. At first glance, he seemed more desolate than a pond filled with withered lotus. "Suzie, you lied to me. You said that if I made it up to you, we could start over. But I never promised him anything in the first place." Soon after, Lu Jingyan was proclaimed crown prince. One day after his proclamation, I encountered him again on the hillside behind Sanchan Temple. He broke off a red bean branch and held it out to me. He said he had noticed me long before Lu Jingzhou ever did. That spring banquet, he had fallen for me at first sight. Alas, he was ultimately a step too late. "Miss Su, why not join hands with me? What Lu Jingzhou can offer you, I can offer too. I can do better than him. Give you more." I paused slightly, a bitter laugh echoing in my heart. Yet I bowed respectfully. "This humble maiden desires nothing more than for your highness to remember the Su family's unwavering loyalty." As for me, had he truly loved me and wished to aid me, he would have stepped forward the day I fell into the water, or when Lu Jingzhou ordered me to kneel in punishment. His waiting those 2 days was merely to make me owe him that favor. Moreover, even if he truly loved me, I am no longer the young girl who could be deceived by a mere flicker of affection. Love is wonderful, but being alone is wonderful too. Now, I only wish to wait for my father's return, to sit with my family in the warm glow of lamplight, to gaze upon the vast mountains and rivers, the sun, moon, and stars. The end.